In this session, we have the privilege of inviting the dignitaries, Dr. Sunil Shukla, Director General, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. He is the convener of the session. Our experts in the session are Mr. Jan Eben, Senior Head, Apprenticeship Division, National Skill Development Corporation. Mr. H.N. Srinivas, Senior Advisor, Tata Indian Institute of Skills. Dr. P.K. Shukla, Vice President, Special Projects, Pidilite Industries Limited. And Mr. M.M. Singh, CEO, International Automobile Center of Excellence. May I request the dignitaries to grace the dais, please? NEP 2020 foresees the development of an enlightened, knowledgeable, and skilled nation. This will be done through changes in higher education, importantly, by focusing on integrating skill with education and expanding access to skill-based knowledge in higher education will enhance the entrepreneurship and so as the global competitiveness of our country. We once again warmly welcome our experts on the dais. May I request Dr. R.M. Jain, Professor Civil Engineering, to welcome Dr. Sunil Shukla, Director General, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, the convener of this session. Dr. R.M. Jain. Thank you very much, sir. May I be allowed to repeat? Dr. Sunil Shukla, Director General, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, is the convener for this session. Sir, if you may allow, I would like to hand over the session to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the honor and giving this responsibility of convening this session, which has distinguished speakers. Each one has a lot of experience in the field of skill domain and their various verticals. This session itself is very important because for last couple of years, a lot of emphasis is being given on skill development. We have also seen that a new ministry by the current government has been created in 2014, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, which has been working in the skilling domain, working with the industry, working with the various parameters for quality packs and NSQF rankings and ratings. A lot of newer traits have been identified for skilling people. In fact, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has identified about the need for an incremental training for about 110 million of educational institutions to prepare people to meet the challenges of the society and developing economy. And therefore, the focus remains on increasing skills and competencies. There are standalone courses as well to develop skills of the people. And while we understand that there is about 70% literacy, over 70% in the country, hardly about 25% people would have attended any courses on skill building or skill development, though it is very, very important. Particularly, it is very important in the current times. We have seen that a set of newer skills have emerged, the technical skills that we are aware, and technology is being considered as an enabler. Lot of newer ventures or newer forms of businesses have emerged. Some people have increased their employability as well, those who are more comfortable in the newer tools, techniques of technology. And these skills are often referred as 21st century skills for the knowledge-based economy. We are very happy that we have our panelists who can throw light, share their experiences on how do we create that knowledge-based economy, strengthen this, and create a trained, skilled workforce which can work on these challenges. We also understand that along with employability, there is also a focus of the government on increasing entrepreneurship. I'm glad to tell you that even during the pandemic phase, a lot of newer startups have emerged. Prior to pandemic, hardly we had about 30, 35 unicorns, and the number has gone up substantially. Number has been doubled. The latest figure is about 70, 70 plus. A lot of new forms of businesses, startups have emerged, and unicorns are becoming decacorns, not just $1 billion turnover, but going beyond that and achieving even $10 billion turnovers. Skilling and entrepreneurship is going side by side. Entrepreneurship creates opportunities for employment, and where if people increase their employability, they can get absorbed and they can look for greener pastures. That is important. And currently, not only the government of India, but various state governments also have set up skill development missions. They focus on devising various training programs to skill people. So lots of things are happening, and it is an honor for me to introduce the panel of experts that we have today. Day1 is a senior head at Apprenticeship Division in National Skill Development Corporation, New Delhi. He promotes industry engagement and advises on international best practices in vocational education and training. Before joining NSDC, he worked in Croatia, Bosnia, a lot of international experience Mr. Eben has, where he advised on mobilizing employers for apprenticeships, developing coordination structures in chambers of commerce and industry, writing training standards for banking, IT, and retail, as well as on secondary school law reform. I'm sure that, sir, you will be able to bring international perspectives on skilling domain in the country. Mr. Srinivasan, Senior Advisor, Tata Skills Project, TIIS, experienced consultant with a demonstrated history of working in the philanthropic industry, skilled in HR consulting, deferred compensation, HR policy, sourcing, performance management, strong professional with a bachelor in science, law, MSW, masters in law, focus in industrial relations, industrial law, personnel management from Bangalore University. A lot of insights that he has, specifically importance of skilling, training, development in within the HR domain. We have Mr. Pankaj Kumar Shukla, who is PhD in fiber optic technology from IIT BHU, Varanasi. Has more than 23 years of rich experience in the corporate world in senior management role in various capacities like systems and engineering services, knowledge management, information technology, HR, and currently heading CSR of Pidilite Group. We have Mr. Nitesh Shanbhag, Chief Risk Officer at NSDC since April 2020. He is not here. Okay. Okay. We move on to you, Mr. Singh. Mr. M.M. Singh is here and is Chief Operating Officer at Maruti Suzuki India Limited, Gurugram, and leads the production vertical there. His leadership led to the production of high-quality cars which were exported to EU, Latin America, and Middle East, and topping CSI and appeal ratings in India. He is also the chairman of SIAM, Society of Automobile Engineers, Logistics, co-chairman of FICCI, Manufacturing National Committee, and chairman of CII, North Manufacturing Committees. And I'm told that the Center of Excellence created at Maruti, which he anchors, it is worth visiting, worth seeing, and worth learning from that. With this, I would like to start with Mr. Ibn. Maybe your opening remarks with a focus on international perspectives on skilling domain and what India can learn and how can we introduce best practices, what are the challenges, and what is your advisory for that?
Thank you, Professor Shukla. And also thanks again for the introduction. It explains why the topic today is dear to my heart, having spent myself 7 years in higher education and 11 years in technical and vocational education and training. Technical vocational education training, TVET is the term that the UNESCO has coined to denote what commonly is referred to as skilling in India. But the skilling maybe is a little bit of a narrow conception because there is a lot around it in terms of competences, cognition, and so forth. I want to focus on the vocationalization of higher education as a very strongly emerging trend, also a debate and a subject that is oftentimes contested. The separation between higher education and vocational education is due back that the two have different roots and different functions. The university is there to expand knowledge, to create new knowledge through research and teaching, whereas technical vocational education is there specifically to train a particular person for work in a specific occupation. So that's a fundamental difference, and it makes for the fact that there are two worlds, but nonetheless, there is a need for vocationalization of higher education, and that refers to the inclusion of skills and competences into a higher education curriculum. The goal for it is employability, which means giving a person the attributes that are necessary for employment, or at least for the first employment after studies. And in India, this has been recognized in the NEPs, first time back in 1986, but now it was re-emphasized again in the current NEP of 2020. In my own country, Germany, the relationship between vocational education and higher education is a more peaceful one, not a contested one. There is a tradition of vocationalization, and this goes back to three landmarks. The first one would be the so-called work study, which came in actually during World War I. And during World War I, there was a scarcity of labor in the wartime economy, and the government wanted to encourage students to go to work. So they worked part-time, studied part-time, and as a side effect, it was discovered that this is a very beneficial setup. In the 1970s, there was an emergence of an academic institution which came to be known as University of Applied Science, with a very practical curriculum and also with the goal to curate the students when they are through with their studies to be ready for employment. So this became quite popular, and then is a third initiative, and I want to, it also goes back to the 1970s, explain this in a little bit more detail, very interesting with, I think, also implications for India. It is the dual university. The dual university was founded in the state of Baden-Württemberg, the southwestern state in Stuttgart, by major industries like Mercedes and Robert Bosch. The reason why they did that is because they wanted to give the most talented of their apprentices, and you need to know that about 2/3 of an age cohort of school leavers goes into apprenticeship in Germany rather than into higher education. So they wanted to give their most talented junior staff, the apprentices, an opportunity to also pursue a course in higher education. And this small initiative, which was also supported by the local Chamber of Commerce and Industry, has today emerged into the largest state university. It has more than 30,000 students. It has 12 campuses, and it may even be compared to large state university models in the United States. The thing here is that these students in the dual university are at the same time apprentices with their companies. Originally with Bosch and with Mercedes, now we have many companies that are participating in this. And to give you just some numbers on this, and this is a study that was done by the German Federal Institute of Vocational Education and Training in 2004. There are 512 courses. Now we have 1,592 courses. So the amount of courses that are offered under the system have tripled, and similarly have almost tripled the number of students enrolled, as well as the number of companies or establishments that are participating in it. What are the subjects that are taught in these dual universities? They are typically business administration, management, engineering, and IT. So if you count these two together, that's already 80 to 90% of all courses. And what apprenticeship courses and qualifications are they connected with in this dual system of studies? It's the industrial mechanic, the mechatronic, IT specialist, industrial clerk, and office manager. So what you see here is that you have a combination of technical subjects with managerial job roles, or vice versa. I was thinking of, when I think of this, we spoke about holistic higher education in one of our earlier sessions, and we looked at holistic, meaning that it is interdisciplinary. But it could also be, of course, holistic, be not just interdisciplinary, but go across educational sectors and go even further by holistically combining the world of education and the world of work. And I think this is done very well in this example. I want to come to conclusions and implications for India. The dual university comes under two basic models. Whereas under one model, you have, and this is the model one, you have the apprenticeship with a degree course. The chief organizers are companies, employers, or establishments. And the characteristic here is that the apprenticeship takes precedence over the university course. The status of the participating candidate is that of being an apprentice, but he's given the opportunity to pursue a university education at the same time. And you compare this now to the second variant, the degree course plus apprenticeship, which is organized by universities of applied science and academies. The apprenticeship, or the student is asked to procure an apprenticeship for himself, for herself. If that is not possible, it may exceptionally be substituted by an internship. The student main relationship is that of being a student that is having a contractual relationship with the university. For India, there are also these two possible models, but I think it is obvious that for a country which has a strong apprenticeship tradition like Germany has, the first model where the organizer is the establishment, the company, where the main role is that of an apprentice, and where then the university course is added for such a country like Germany, this would be the more preferable model, whereas for a country like India or for any other country where the main educational pathway is through higher education, the second model where the organizer is the university would be the more preferred one. I think the way forward is under the NEP, under the development of vocationalization to encourage degree apprenticeship and BVOC programs in this country. I represent the National Skill Development Corporation here and would therefore like to add, and they can go on to the last slide actually. I would like to add that the design of integrated curricula, university curricula and apprenticeship curricula is actively assisted by the National Skills Development Corporation and the sector skill councils, and also that financial assistance is available from the government of India. There are 3 relevant programs: the National Apprenticeship Training Scheme, NATS, the National Employment Enhancement Mission, NEAM, and the National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, which is administered by the NSDC NAPS. I do also want to invite you to join for a follow-up session to this, which will come tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, where we'll go into a little bit of further detail and it'll be more technically oriented about these programs and how a university or a college can go about engaging in setting up a vocationalized university course. So that will be tomorrow. Now I think I need to yield to the convener and also to the next speaker, but I do thank you for your interest and attention.
Management, and we are thankful to you that you are sharing your knowledge with India, with NSQF, NSDC for helping our students. We'll come to you again to know more about your views on this. But in the meantime, Mr. Srinivasan, I would like to come to you. Tata Group is known for prioritizing skill building. Probably they believe in the philosophy of building people for building businesses. I will not hesitate in telling that. Moreover, you are from HR background. So I would like to know from you the philosophy behind skill development initiatives which are going on within the group, and your specific views on HR, how HR can prioritize skill development, training, grooming, leadership, team building for preparing not just employable people, but also promoting entrepreneurship within the organization like entrepreneurship, and those who want to start their own enterprise outside, not necessarily from your people. So what are your views and what we can learn from the rich experiences that you have? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen who are assembled here. It's so interesting that he mentioned about Tata's being interested in skill and people development in their organization. Our founder, Jamshedji Tata, when he was traveling across the country in 1895, wanting to set up a steel mill, because he thought that steel is an important prerequisite for any nation-building activity, he chose a location which is come to be known as Jamshedpur today. It was the deep jungles of Bihar. When he was traveling in interior parts of Bihar, he could see only tribal settlements, and they were the people available in that region. So he decides to get the first set of consultants from UK for steel making those days. Everything had to be imported, including technical know-how and expertise. And the 2 set of consultants he brings from London are not metallurgists, steel making experts, structural management experts, but 2 Fabian sociologists called Dr. and Mrs. Sidney and Beatrice Webb, to conduct a social audit in the deep jungle tribal settlements and guide us in hiring those children, tribal children, to Tata Steel and establishing a skill school in Jamshedpur, Tata Steel, and training them to become employees of Tata Steel. I'm talking about 1890-95. The skilling journey in Tata's began those days. And the next important skilling project he took up as the Tata Steel project was becoming, much more matured. He wanted to establish a science and technology research institute in India. There was nothing like that. No training was given in technical skills and engineering. He realized that is a major gap. We can't think of nation building without expertise, without competent, skilled technical people. So he was traveling all across India, meeting up with the royal families of those kings and princes those days, begging them for some land and some money. There was a saintly looking person in Calcutta who guided him. Why don't you go to these locations? Your dream will get fulfilled. Because everybody else laughed at him and he said it's a British colony and pariah children. How will they learn engineering, technical expertise and all that you're dreaming? That will never happen here. So he traveled all the way to Mysore, met Mysore Maharaja, and Maharaja of Mysore took very, very favorably to this and he got excited. It's a noble thought. You want to build scientific and technical expertise, skilling among the youth of India. North side of Bangalore is all our land. As much as you want, you can fence it and start building this institute, which is today's Indian Institute of Science. And the person who guided him is none other than Swami Vivekananda in Calcutta. So we go back as a passion, as a commitment to the nation, skilling as a forerunner. It is in the forefront of all business enterprise that we have undertaken. See, if you critically examine the skilling landscape in India, see that particularly after the NSDC was set up and also the Ministry of Skill Development has been formed, there are two facets, couple of reality facets come to your light. And this has not yet matured in terms of the people involved in the ecosystem properly integrating it. Number one is there are multiple stakeholders. People who are running skilling institutes, people who are job seekers, trainers, Government of India, and various state governments, NGOs who are running skilling institutes, and employment demand generators, people who provide jobs, companies. So each one of them have their own needs and requirements specifically from the people who get skilled and come on to their organizations. And have we integrated all this is a question mark. Some effort has been made, I'll admit that, and it is progressing well. That is one important reality facet. The other important reality facet is the present condition of the industrial training institutes across the country. And the third reality facet we need to accept is the resource commitment that is coming from various, all this is improving, all this is improved. I'm not saying, coming from various state governments and also Government of India to run skilling institutes. And the most important relative facet we need to know is, as of 4 years ago, some 36 lakhs, that is 3.6 million, 3.6 to 3.8 million were getting skilled in skilling institutes in India, out of which a study revealed that only about 27% were billable. In other words, could be directly recruited and appointed for the roles for which they have been certified to perform. That is a plumber who passes out of a ITI, let us say in an interior part of Shivamogga in Karnataka or a Satara in Maharashtra. He has got a certificate. He can be hired as a plumber and immediately a job can be given. That category, it consisted of only 27%. The balance 73% had to undergo the training once again. They had a certificate, but they needed to go through training comprehensively once again. So the inadequacy of infrastructure in skilling institutes, inadequacy of trainers, inadequacy of teaching, training, material, curriculum, inadequacy of tie-up with industry, inadequacy of on-the-job training and lab training, all this contributes to where we are in the skilling journey. But a lot of progress has been achieved in the last 3-4 years, thanks to the imagination and the dream of the current Prime Minister when he launched Skill India and also Make in India. So while Skill India focuses on building livelihoods given the enormous demographic advantage we have, Make in India focuses on advanced skills. We are establishing as Tatas, to answer your question, sir, in Ahmedabad, a campus called Indian Institute of Skills. That is the next big thing Tatas are doing after Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Indian Institute of Science, some of these educational institutions. This will be the next big thing we are doing, where in advanced technology for manufacturing to begin with, we will take up services immediately thereafter. We are bringing in the best of expertise available in the world. We have already done MOUs with companies like Siemens, Schlumberger, Schneider Electric, Toyota, Fanuc, and Festo of Germany, SMC of Japan. We have tied up with about 15 internationally best organizations to look at transforming assembly lines, assembly line automation, digital electronics, digital manufacturing. These are some of the courses we will be offering, mechatronics and electronics and electrical systems and electric cars and the corresponding skilling that is required. And these are some of the things that we will be focusing on in the institute that we are setting up in Ahmedabad. And of course, we will be taking up service sector skills and gems and jewelry as the second phase. Parallelly, we are exploring even that. And this institute, the work has already begun. Now, in so far as the skilling issues are concerned, if you look at the large canvas, there are certain specific role systems that have been unleashed. They are all getting very active. And these are all spinning, according to me, as free spinning wheels. They are not properly coordinated. Their coordination journey has begun. One is all about mobilization. Somebody was mentioning in the morning session, what kind of job suits me? What is the kind of career I should pursue is a big question among the youth of India. And very clear, convincing answer is not coming forth from educational institutions. Not many. Some are doing. That to answer a young boy after he passes his SLC, this is the course you should take up. You should become a plumber. You should become a cook. You should become a retail assistant. You should join hospitality industry, airline industry. Somebody, through some mechanism, identifying him, bringing such youth into the right skill training is one important engagement. If you look at German example, like he was mentioning, Germany, Switzerland, Japan, even Singapore. In fact, I studied Singapore model so comprehensively. They have a labor market information system. Sitting today here, 5 years from now, what are the 270 trades and job roles and how many people they require in Singapore for advancing their economy as per their planning, strategic planning. They have the numbers. They have developed certain algorithms and they have perfected tools which tell you these are the numbers we require in these skills, 5 years hence, 10 years hence. So a labor market information system has not been perfected in India. Journey has begun. Again, I mean, a lot of people are working. I compliment them and congratulate them, but still we don't have. That's a big gap. And once you have it, the first mobilization issue gets addressed. Then curriculum development and content creation. That's a big vacuum. We need to have experts in curriculum development, creating content, L1, L2, L3, L4, and delivering training courses, very convincingly, competency assessment, some of these things, we don't have the exacting expertise in the country. It is, again, it's being onboarded. We want to do that in Indian Institute of Skills project, and we are working on that. And number 3, training the trainers and making competent trainers available. Extremely important. Shortage of trainers. Number 4, examination authority. Evaluating skills is different from somebody writing an examination, sitting in a hall and securing a score. How do you assess and evaluate the skill accurately to meet the exacting international standards? A plumber who is evaluated by this institution should be able to get a job in either Australia, Singapore, America, or anywhere else, in England or Germany. How do we bring that rigor in our assessment evaluation, examination, certification. Who are the certifying agencies who are doing this? This kind of world-class evaluation, examination, assessment. And then lastly, the facilitating employment opportunities, like the title of this today's subject, employment, entrepreneurship for 21st century, building bridges for 21st century. What is the work involved in that facet of activity? So these are all the 4, 5 free spinning wheels, as I put it. Lot of work is going on, but they're all not aligned to each other in a manner that they harmoniously coordinate, integrate, and generate motion. If wheels are free spinning, it's like an accelerated vehicle mounted on a jack. Movement is not there. Speedometer is showing a certain this thing, and fuel is being consumed. There is a lot of every 100 new jobs. 75 roughly are in the service sector and 25 are in the manufacturing sector. And the 25 is becoming lesser and lesser. 25 is becoming 23, 23 is becoming 20 because of advancements in science and technology, rapid advancements, and its ever speedier application for production and distribution of goods and services. The productivity improvement has become a main theme for companies, and per employment and per unit capital, the employment that they generate, and per unit capital, the employment that gets generated is taking a beating. So jobs are getting gradually reduced as productivity improves. What was required to run a project, about 20 years ago, 200 people, the same project runs today with about 50 people or 75 people. So in manufacturing, that kind of automation is happening. However, it is very important, particularly in the light of Make in India initiatives that Prime Minister has announced and is implementing. Automation and advancements and technology implementation and application and developing competencies in this field in advanced manufacturing is a must. And our first primary focus will be on this in Tata Indian Institute of Skills. And in Tata's, it has been a journey of building national institutions. We hope to do a good job in this institute also. And thank you for this opportunity you gave me. Thank you for all who assembled here, who patiently heard me. Thank you. And any questions are there, we'll take up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's an enormous contribution of the group in for the society and the country. And World Trade Organization, one of their observations is that if India focuses on skill development and training, it can increase its GDP by 3 to 5%. And I'm sure what you were telling, that integration, coordination of various skills, making systematic and strategic attempts, and the vision that your Institute of Skills in Gandhinagar has, I'm sure by and large, we'll be able to address that bridge gap. Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to Dr. Shukla. Dr. Shukla belongs to Pidilite Industries, a group which is known for its innovative skills, not only the product that he has or offers, but also the way publicizes the product, its advertisements. Very well known, very popular, and people keep on waiting for newer editions of your, newer series of your advertisements. Dr. Shukla, he himself has a lot of insights, particularly the skills pertaining to the new knowledge-based economy. And therefore, I would like to ask him that how can we focus on building skills for the new knowledge-based economy, and what is the role of innovation in it, and how can we encourage that? Your views are very, very important. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shukla, sir. Let me start, as you asked me about the innovation. So the key element of the Pidilite Industries is actually innovation. Because if you see the entire profile of the company, a lot of people, they don't know we are having 4,500 products, large number of the products, Fevicol, and Fevikwik, Dr. Fixit, M-Seal, it goes into the various industry where the actual, the carpentry, plumber, mason, they are using it. And good part is you don't see anything. When we talk about this company, so you don't see any product because products are actually inside and still very fancy. So the one element, what you rightly touched upon, Shukla sir, is our innovation. The way we innovate and the way we innovate the entire product line, as well as the innovation at the time of recruitment, as well as our influencer. So these two elements innovation. Now come to our second phase, those who are actually our influencer. So the influencer, when we talk about, so the carpenter, the plumber, mason, electrician, all these things are our influencer. We have every city, we have a clubs across country and many countries outside of India also. So these clubs, what we call it, Fevicol Champions Club. We call it M-Seal Club. We call it Dr. Fixit Club. So they are the people, they actually, in the market, when a plumber is actually going to a house and where the housewife is there and he's coming up with the example, like, for example, we have, say, for example, M-Seal. And M-Seal is actually when the pipe is broken in the sink and then he has to apply. So many times what happen, the wives are there, they are alone, especially into these metro cities. They want the plumber should finish the job and then he should go away. And the same time plumber is saying, no, I have to, your surface is wet and I have to make it complete dry, then I have to apply. And then we have this forum where our people, they continuously meet them. So why not to design a product which should actually work on the wet surface? So then the M-Seal, wet seal has come up. Similarly, for so inside the organization, innovation is promoted. Outside of the organization, there is a forum, there is a club. So they are also promoting the innovation, and we together sit and then we decide, what is to be the strategy of the company. So these are the, since the very direct question from Shukla sir was that how you control the innovation. So this is the way, the two level we control the innovation. There is a huge things. When we'll get some time, we can share with you. But this is what my say. Thank you.
Very interesting. In fact, I'm tempted to ask you, since you have been highlighting innovations, a lot of people say that innovation is very risky. My take on this is that if you're not innovative, probably that poses greater risk. So what has been your philosophy within the organization and anything that you have to offer in this regard?
Yeah, again, I'll take one example. Like, for example, we have, say, Fevicol, and we have now the Fevicol, which is a water resistance Fevicol, which is known as the Marine, Fevicol Marine. So now what we have, which is pretty costly. So what we have seen, wherever you apply the Fevicol, it's definitely there is a water. And that earlier Fevicol was not very good on that. So once we introduced, then there was always in the back of the mind that this may fail, because this is the cost is very high, and then the research has a lot of research has gone into this. And you'll not believe, now slowly the old Fevicol market share is taken over by the Fevicol Marine. So initially there was a risk, but at the same time, similarly, the M-Seal. So M-Seal, Wet Seal has taken over the entire market share. So this is the way, this is the thing which we see into the students when we go to the campus and we see how much that guy is innovative, and also entrepreneurship is there. We will say, okay, fine, this much X amount we'll give it to you. You have to completely manage the shop floor, starting from the research to the manufacturing and even going to the market, and sometimes sitting in the account and seeing the balance sheet, and then also seeing the market collection. So the complete chain he has to see, see, and then see how it works. So we don't hire just a scientist, we don't hire just a manufacturing person, we don't hire salesperson. We want everything, and that is we see at the time of recruitment that the guy is actually entrepreneur. He should be able to do the things like his own self business. We will provide the fund, but at the same time, he has to do everything.
Very good. Very interesting. So entrepreneur is also employable in your company at least. That's great. Sir, Maruti has been ruling the Indian roads for several decades, not only within country, but even number of countries, large number of countries that you have exported. And quality orientation, quality focus, probably one hallmark has been there. Mike, I'm curious to know, how do you build the culture of quality within the organization, and quality orientation as a skill, how it increases employability, and what is your take on it, and what we should be doing to make our employees, our youth, quality conscious, quality oriented, and impact making, so that their employability also increases. Yes, sir. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before going to the main subject, let me introduce myself again, because, sorry, Shukla Sahab, I am executive advisor in Maruti now, because I've headed manufacturing for almost a decade as a chief operating officer of Maruti, and my whole tenure of 35, almost 40 years, I've worked in manufacturing only. I started with Telco, that is presently Tata Motors, then Tata Steel also, Mr. Sinos, I worked. And Maruti from 1983, so you can say almost 40 years now in Maruti also. And when I think Mr. Shukla has talked about the quality part, before that, I just want to give you some little bit about the manufacturing as a whole, because when once you look at the manufacturing, then the concept will be more clear how, as a company like us, particularly if I talk about Maruti Suzuki India Limited, how Maruti is where it is today, and from last, you can say more than 40 years, because I still recall in 1983-84, when Maruti started, we started with 40,000 cars in a year. And gradually, today, we are in a position to go more than 2 million car, or looking for 30 million, the 3 million car in coming times. And also, the upgradation, the technology transformation, the way the quality has gone, and I think some of you must have seen in the newspaper also recently now, almost in a financial year. Yeah, okay. In a calendar year now, our export has also gone more than 200,000. How it has happened, because this is the culture. And I think what the Maruti has done with the last 3 decades, more than 3 decades in India, is developing a manufacturing culture. That is very important, you have to understand, because normally and it is not, when we talk about the manufacturing culture, let me tell you very clearly, it is not confined only to our own soft floor practices that we are doing it, but we look at the complete supply chain. When you talk about our suppliers, and also look at our dealership, I'm talking about from complete ecosystems, how we are addressing it. And this is the key, the success of Maruti today. And presently, because you'll be surprised to look at the role and the vision that our leaders, our top management has, that when I was superintending from Maruti and having such a strong understanding on the manufacturing, the task given to me was, can we now develop, start looking at our supplier also? And proudly, I can tell you today, I'm connected with more than 800 auto component suppliers pan-India. And in 2010, 11, I think it was 2011, when our today's Prime Minister was in CM in Gujarat. And that time, when we signed our agreement, I was also part of that agreement signing. Myself and my MD was there. There, this concept of whole culture, developing the manufacturing culture as a whole, how it can be implanted in Gujarat also. That was the vision. And presently, when going for the ISE, that is International Automotive Center of Excellence, is also one of the vision of our Prime Minister. He told me very clearly, I'll tell you in Hindi, एक global center बनना चाहिए जिसमें कि गुजरात में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का कॉट हो और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का कल्चर डेवलप. So that was the vision of our Prime Minister. And based on that, then I'll just upon the quality culture, how it changes. I'll give you just a figure that can give you what is happening and what is happening in the industry today. The industry, most of the defects, when you talk about, you'll be surprised, 80%, more than 80% defect of the product or the process defect that you get because of the two factors. One is people are not adhering what is required to be done, whether you talk about the operator or supervisor or manager. Second is the new worker. And I think there, again, I'll talk about the vision that Skill India program has come. Because, the intents, because maybe a company like us where we actually have the muscles, we can go for going for a different level of people also. But look at the 80-85% of the industry today. And fortunately for me, again, I'll tell you, sir, because I've had it, I chaired some of the ITIs also. I know the ground reality, what is being taught, how it is being taught, how much the people, I think Mr. Srinivasan touched upon that subject very categorically. They see how much people who are coming out from the ITIs, are they really employable? They are not. And I think the figure, we all know what is the scenario. And it is not only the basic training I'm talking about. Also require is the behavioral part of the training. How you should go and behave in industry. I think that these are the soft skills. Because till and until, and Marti, what we did from day one. As a manager, I'll tell you, as the manager of the shop and my JMD, joint MD of our company, he used to sweep the shop floor with ourselves. So no, nobody will come. We will not get a sweeper here. Let us sweep the floor out. Let us clean the floor ourselves. That is the culture. All are equal. Everything is equal. See, those are the things that has to be developed. As a manufacturing culture, till and until we are not, because somewhere, till and until as an operator, as a workman, if I don't have, or as a employee of the company, if I don't owe the company, things are not going to work. Actual change in the companies and the country is going to come when I owe it. I owe my country, I owe my company. And you'll be surprised, sometimes I always say, I owe Maruti. Everything that gives anything bad happens to Maruti, it gives me a lot of pain. So that is the culture has to be developed. And I can tell you, that culture is there, sir, in Maruti. That's what Maruti is today. Maruti has to this level because of that. Because till and until you are not, and it is not only going for giving the training is going to help you. No. Nothing. Training is one part. Yes, it is very important. But till and until you are not showing that concept of equality among yourself, you are not showing that participative management. We talk about, because when I talk in the conferences, people always say, do really what you talk is being implemented on the shop floor? I say it is possible. And I have devised a system of my own where I say production management system. And that system is globally recognized because whatever is being talked is being practiced. It is very important, you have to understand that. And what we are trying to do in ISC today. And I'll just touch upon, sir, I'll take another 5 minutes just to touch the ISC part, because ISC is in Gandhinagar. What we are trying, our own experience, with the vision of the Prime Minister, with the vision of our top management, what we are trying to do in ISC is trying to give the same culture. Trying to give, because the task that has been given to us is train the trainers. I think Mr. Srinivasan touched upon that subject. What is our job is, as the International Automotive Center of Excellence, train all the trainers of diploma engineering colleges, engineering colleges, ITI schools in Gujarat. Similarly, employability, other part, which is very sensitive. And what is happening in the country today, and I'll give you a very feel about some of the colleges, because I had interaction with some of the vice chancellors. They say, yaar, I'm saying, padhate to hum mechanical engineering ladke jate hain IT mein. People doesn't want to go to manufacturing. Why? This is a question I'm supposed to ask. No? Because when we are looking at a country where we want the manufacturing has to contribute such a high level, going for 20-25% of GDP one day and giving the whole turnaround, what is killing India is talking about. If the things are, how the things are going to change. The center like us, we are going to impart that. I tell you, our commitment to Gujarat is we are going to impart, we'll make the people who are going to see their employability has to be 100%. Whether it is engineer, diploma engineer, also the academia. I'll just upon the last part is the academia part, where we have some tie-ups already, and we are trying, because see, the important is if you want the manufacturing has to scale up in the country, the most important aspect for you will be Please have the specialists in your colleges. Go for the sector excellence. Yes, it is important, but look at the utilization. How much utilization you are able to do those center of excellence. Just putting the center of excellence, putting the money is not going to help you. Somebody has to be really specialist of those subjects also. If these are the changes you brought in, then actual manufacturing culture or the quality culture, what the Prime Minister is looking at, make in India, proud India, I think those things are going to happen in the country. Thank you very much.
You talked of something which is very important, the soft skills. I think whenever we talk of skills, often we refer to technical skills. But I fully agree with you that soft skills are very, very important on the shop floor to create the work culture, to create the bonding within the workforce. I think that is very, very important. If we have time, I would quickly be tempted to ask a question to each one of you. Yes, sir. Soft skills. Please go ahead. Yeah. But something on entrepreneurship, if you can also touch that, how this helps entrepreneurship.
I'll just take 2 minutes.
Please.
Soft skills like the last speaker very brilliantly highlighted. It is the most critical. It is 50% skilling. Let me tell you that. See, attitude, commitment, passion, a sense of ownership in what he is doing. You see, if that is not built into the culture of work, if that is not ingrained in the minds of youngsters, this is my country, I'm passionate about contributing something to my company, to my country, to my department. Come what may, I'll stretch, I'll take risk, I'll feel empowered. I'll go out of the way and do this to please my customer in a hotel industry or an airline industry. I'll break the rules. As long as my customer is delighted and says, wow, only Taj can do this, or a Jet Airways can, Indigo can do this, Air India, whatever. The thing is he committed to creating that experience for the customer? Eventually, what you deliver as an outcome of your business is the experience. Product quality is the experience. So soft skills is extremely necessary. We had a detailed method of imparting soft skills in Taj Hotels. Lot of emphasis. We had defined cultural credos, soft personality, grooming. Some of these things took a lot of importance. Number one. Number two, on entrepreneurship. See, entrepreneurship is inherent in the DNA of people of this country. See, if you look at what was happening in India 300 years ago, it is only entrepreneurship. You see, I use a carpenter in Bangalore who is from Rajasthan, who is an illiterate, who is a left-hand thumb impression person, who has done interiors for 5-star hotels in Taj, the likes of which they were all stunned when they come and see the kind of interiors that have been done. They ask me, which international interior design agency you hired? We would like to know. When I said this is Ravi Jangir from Junjunu, they're stunned. He is not able to speak his language, their language. He speaks only Hindi. So you take Banarsi silk weavers in the outskirts of Banaras. You take this carpenter. You take plumbers from Orissa. You take cooks from Udupi. See, they're not qualified, but they do an outstanding job. So being entrepreneurs is a inherent part of our culture. But what is important in today's world is we need to give them 3 facets of training. One is the financial understanding, financial management, governance, a little bit of training for them is a must. And people are doing it through NSDC and all that. Some efforts have been made, number one. And number two, we need to cultivate a bit of managerial bandwidth. If they have some 20 people working under them, they should know how to manage these 20 people, their performance, the organization structure, some fundamentals of managing. This is required. And number 3 and most important is market access. Market access is so important. When we started a rehabilitation program with Banarsi silk weavers, the first thing we said is we went and told them, we will buy whatever you are producing as Banarsi silk saris for the next 2 years.
Thank you.
And all the saris that you see worn by receptionists in Taj Hotels are all coming under the CSR program we launched in Banaras.
Thank you, thank you.
So
thank
that
you.
is-
Very interesting. Very quickly, sir, in 1 minute, NSDC's views on soft skill and entrepreneurship. 1 minute each. We don't have much time. Already I have got a slip from the organizers. Yes.
See, entrepreneurship itself is a soft skill. So it is something, we see the technical side of entrepreneurism, how to make a business plan and all these things that can be learned and that can be trained, but that's not the spirit of entrepreneurism. So entrepreneurism is something like all the other soft skills that cannot be trained so much as it has to be learned, and it has to be learned because it is social, it has to be learned in a community.
Right,
Yeah? So therefore, it is totally different from the domain-specific skills
But
that
it is
make a
important.
plumber, it is super important.
Very important.
And I think there should be a mandatory element of entrepreneurism, soft skill, on top of any training course that there is. Yeah, as
Thank
a
you.
module, but it's something that is deeply ingrained in it, but it doesn't help. So soft skills and entrepreneurism is something that is encultured and cannot be taught in the classroom.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you. Singh Saab, anything that you want to add?
I think I
in a
have already
sentence?
covered. my
Already you have
question.
done?
Yeah,
You also talked about entrepreneurship being encouraged.
Yeah, I think very important point, as Singh Saab also said, and then Mr. Srinivas also said, is what we do actually, I can share with you. A program for learning is there, always you will find, but the program for unlearn is also very important. So because many times your past background, your past experience, many times is holding you to not come up with the something, some idea which is very important for an entrepreneurship kind of program. So that is something which we tried, and then a kind of the module, and then we found it's very it's yielding very good result. So that's what.
Thank you, thank you. Let me just quickly sum it up. I think a lot of interesting discussions we had on importance of skilling in the country, not just domain-specific skilling, but also the soft skills. And it has to be practiced by the organizations. I mean, and it has to come from within. Then only we will be able to encourage employability and also entrepreneurship, which is the hallmark for economic development of the country or any economy. So thank you very much. Do we have any questions from anyone else? Do we have time? 1 or 2 questions can we take, or we hand it over to you?
Sir, we have just one question.
Yeah, that's
If we
fine.
can quickly take it up. Yeah. How the organization builds the strong culture among different cultures of different employees of different cultures.
Let me request Mr. Singh to attempt this question.
at the end of the day, what normally we say the Maruti culture. So similarly, it is irrespective of from where you are and what you are doing, what type of background you have, the organization has to build up its own culture. Even being a Japanese company and our collaboration with the Japan, but we say Maruti ways. This is the way the industry goes. And I think if you practice the same thing, things are going to work for you also tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir.
Thank you so much. I hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. That was a very informative and insightful session. We would now like to thank all the experts on the dais. I would request Dr. Sunil Shukla to please do the honors. We would like to present the memento to Mr. Jan Eben. Next, we thank Mr. M.M. Singh. We would like to present a memento to Dr. P.K. Shukla. And last but not the least, we present a memento to Mr. H.N. Srinivas.
So much.
Thank you very much. Please bear with us for a few moments while we prepare for our next session on digital empowerment and ICT enablement. We will begin shortly. Thank you.
No, she mentioned about we'll meet, but today asked me to I said, "Madam, give some time." No, it's very dynamic. Yeah. Nice to meet you, sir. Yeah, next week I'm here. Yeah, our chairman has written a book, Mr. Chandrasekharan, called Digital India. Okay. He says the biggest issue that we need to address in all social sector programs.
Digital technology has an essential role to play in education sector. It has greatly impacted the management and governance of the institutions. The education through digital technology is accessible to everyone and is affordable and imperative in these times. It's heartening to see our experts interacting with each other.
How long you are here?
May we begin with our next session, Digital Empowerment and ICT Enablement. May I take the privilege to invite the convener, Dr. K.S. Das Gupta, Director, DAA IICT Gandhinagar. Sir, kindly grace the dais. May I invite Dr. Suryakant Gupta, Scientific Officer, IPR IC Engineering, Gandhinagar. Thank you very much. May I request Dr. Mihir Shah to welcome our convener of this session, Dr. K.S. Das Gupta, with a memento. May we have a round of applause, please? Thank you. May I request Dr. Manish Thakkar to welcome Dr. Suryakant Gupta. Thank you. May I request the convener, Dr. K.S. Das Gupta, to take over this session, please?
Good afternoon. I know, it's a fag end of the day. I got one chit from the organizer that I should finish it between, by 15, within 15 minutes, 15 to 20, if I'm correct. Definitely, this, vibrant Gujarat program where academic institute interaction is there, maybe more, it is important to have an interaction with the foreign delegates and institutes representative. But I'm first very thankful to the organizer to, give us this opportunity. And we have one with us, Dr. Suryakant, and he is from IPR. So I will not, we will try to finish it in 15 minutes, correct? I will not take much time, but the topic is very relevant and very apt. It is called Digital Empowering, Empowering and ICT Enablement. And the most important point is, I believe it is an information-centric society, and information-centric society needs digital empowering. You can look the problem in a different way. One is for the, the modern days academic institutes are becoming more, it's called digital campus, and it is called the students' interactions, and to students, engagement is more virtual than real, as it happens in a pandemic situation now. In addition to that, there is one more important part of digital empowering is basically for the citizenship, for enhancing citizens to become part of the, to develop information society. The most important point is that information society we cannot avoid. Information society needs digital empowering. And there is a saying, when there is an avalanche, you cannot be static, you have to continue, you have to move. So each of us has to be empowered. But when we get empowered, there can be two types of empowerment. One is we are the users of the digital systems, we are the users of internet. Another is we participate and we try to make sure that how we can exploit, how we can innovatively use the digital systems. Having said this, since time is less, I would request Dr. Suryakant to talk about that what type of digital empowerment should be there in an academic institutes, universities, R&D organizations where he comes from. And then we will have an interaction. And I request you to take 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, and then we can have more interactions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Das Gupta. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Suryakant Gupta. I am from Institute for Plasma Research. This is the establishment of Department of Atomic Energy. And as you all know, the Department of Atomic Energy in India is responsible for the development of nuclear-based technology for the societal benefit and also for the strategic applications. So since long, because atomic energy establishments are spread throughout the country, we have more than 20 centers. And in the past, it has been realized that the scientists working in the strategic applications are finding it difficult to improve them academically. So in 2005, Government of India has passed a resolution through Parliament to establish a new unit, academic unit, which is known as HBNI, Homi Bhabha National Institute. In the last year, we have an NIRF ranking of 43. So basically, all the scientific laboratories of Department of Atomic Energies, they have a mandate that all the faculty members or the researchers or scientists, if they wish to do any academic activity, it can be routed through HBNI. So basically, HBNI conducts PhD and master's programs in all the centers of Department of Atomic Energy. You know, for any researchers, it is very important that he should interact with the peers in the people working in the other laboratory. This enhances their understanding about the subject, and they can also improve the outcome of their research programs. You know, if one has to interact, then either he has to visit the laboratory or he has to participate in conference or in workshops. So participating in international conference is a very costly affair, and you know, for the travel and for the stay, it needs a lot of money. So as per the government guidelines, all the students of HBNI, they were permitted to visit or attend at least one international conference. So when this COVID pandemic started, then we were worried, even students were worried what will happen to their academic career. But just to opposite of this, because of empowerment of digital empowerment and the use of ICTs, these students could participate in more than one conferences and several scientific workshops. So basically, it helped them a lot, and they interacted with the very senior scientists working in the prestigious research laboratories working in Europe, Japan, and America. And the outcome of this result, this interaction helped them to publish high impact factor research publications. And also these students, because they could interact with the experts virtually and frequently, so they could discuss their routine problem, they could share the result, and it was really a very helpful for them, because this tough time has converted into an opportunities for the, especially the research students. So now we have several collaborations and several new activities which were initiated by the student. At the same time, we should also remember that technology can only be used as a tool to enhance the performance and to optimize the output. Because when a teacher teaches the student, he doesn't teach the subjects like academic mathematics or science, but he also plays a very important role in the development of overall development of the student, like character building and also the motivation of the student. This cannot be done through online coaching. So just to conclude, I wish to say that we have to optimize the technology for the betterment of students and faculty, which we have seen recently during these tough times of COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. In fact, you said you have to optimize the use of technology, and it should be a proper blending of on-campus and off-campus activities. I believe, you know, though we call COVID as a pandemic and it is a disruptive system, but still the good part of this is that we have been used to that online interaction. Now, you know, in a modern world, you cannot replicate the labs everywhere at every nook and corner of the country, and international collaboration, cooperation is very important. Because of this virtual connectivity, a good student can get connected with the best teacher across the world, And also at the same time, you have seen that how many webinars are being floated by the international as well as the national faculties from different institute. So I believe that digital empowering has a very, very important, aspect of modern life or information-centric society. But only thing we have to understand and we have to appreciate that when you talk about it, information-centric society, it should be a proper blend. And in a situation like this, virtual connectivity has given us a lot of leverage, lot of legroom to interact with the faculty member across the country and across the globe. But when you say digital empowerment, it should not be that, we use this as a tool, we become the customer, we become the, user of the system, but we should innovate. Now you see in a digital empowering, whether you talk about an online Google Meet, whether it is in WebEx, whether it is Zoom, so many things have come up. And because it is the compulsion that has created this sort of innovations, and this sort of innovation is changing the life. Now, especially in an academic institute, I may say that the modern days, the previously institute was considered as a temple, and institute people used to come. But the now situation is there that you should provide opportunity for the students to get connected online and try to do a lifelong learning through this connection. So people are talking about digital campus, people are talking about the digital library, resource center. So overall, we have to change the mindset of the faculty members in an institute, staff members in an institute, who will be in not only promoting the digital empowerment of the campus, but also it should see that it's the right mix of on-campus activities and off-campus activities. Now, I may ask one quick question to Professor Gupta. Now, in your IPR, what type of digital empowering you are trying to do to your research scholars, to your academic, to your staff members? If you can throw some light, that will be a great experience, because IPR is a very leading R&D institute.
Thank you, sir. So basically, we have started conducting the classes online, and the most important part of this digital empowerment was sharing of resources, as you rightly said, because some of the equipments are very costly and located in another laboratories or another research centers of our department. So now, because of this virtual connectivity, students and faculty members are finding them very comfortable to share the resources and also the sharing of what should I say, the experimental findings, because now they can discuss the result online and they can analyze the result in a better way compared to the previous days. So as such, our department is concerned, we are utilizing this virtual connectivity in a better way, and it is helping us in several ways, because like in IPR also we have 3 different centers located in Ahmedabad, like one is in GIDC Gandhinagar, another is in near Indra Bridge, and another is Motera. So previously we used to visit these centers separately, but now because of the virtual meetings, it is very easy for us to save the time and resources, and very frequently we can share the scientific findings, and we analyze the results and present our findings in a better journal papers. That's all.
In fact, in order to conclude this session, I would ask if there is 1 or 2 questions. The panelists will be happy to answer you. And if you don't have, and we don't want to stand between T and you, but let me conclude by saying that this virtual connectivity is a boon. Digital empowering is a need of the hour, and this creates a more growth in the information-centric society. It allows us to cooperate, collaborate, and synchronize our activities. it gives you an opportunity to interact and share your ideas with your peer. So having said this, I think that digital empowering is a need of the hour. You cannot avoid it. You have to accept it. You have to accept it happily because it gives you the better future and it a brighter future. So thank you. I think we have kept our time. If you, because I see already the audience is thinning out, so I don't want to take a situation where we are sitting and audience are not there. So if you have any questions, you are welcome. Otherwise, I again thank you from our side, and we look forward to have a better interaction. So you know our email, so you can always send the mail, and we'll definitely interact with you. So thank you very much. If you have no other questions, you have made our job simpler. In fact, I was thinking in 1 hour, we'll have a lot of things to talk, but you have made our life simpler. But of course, it is not a good indication, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. We will be quickly preparing for our next session on quality assurance in assessment and accreditation. We have speakers and experts in this session who are stalwarts in the field of accreditation. So I'm sure we will enjoy hearing from them. The session will be convened by Professor Shirish Kulkarni, Vice Chancellor, Sardar Patel University. Sir, आप यहाँ से भी जा सकते हैं. May I request the dignitaries to grace the dais, please? Accreditation is a standardized evaluation of the quality of higher education institutions and its programs. Accreditation for institutions of higher education is essential for two reasons: ensuring that the students are successful in their chosen career paths, and for promoting institutional and programmatic excellence. It is a type of quality assurance process which ensures that services and operations of educational institutions or programs are evaluated and verified as per applicable and recognized standards.
May I kindly request the convener, Professor Shirish Kulkarni, Vice Chancellor, Sardar Patel University, to be on the dais. The speakers, Dr. S.C. Sharma, the Director, NAC from Bangalore, Professor Bhim Prasad Subedi, Chairperson, University Grants Commission, Nepal, Diplomat, to be on the dais, please. Diplomat Professor Abdul Hanan Wahid, Chief Executive Officer from Maldives Qualifications Authority, Male, Maldives, on the dais, please. Dr. Timur, Deputy Director General for International Cooperation, Kazakhstan, on the dais, please. Dr. Saikis, International Cooperation Specialist from Kazakh, on the dais. Advisor to the Government of Egypt, Ministry of Finance and Expenditure, and Education, Dr. Mrs. Reem Derbala. Dr. Mrs. Reem on the dais, please. So we will give the session to Professor Suresh Kulkarni, Vice Chancellor, Sardar Patel University, convener for the session, please. Opening remarks.
Good evening to all of you. Before I begin with my opening remarks, there is an emergency to Director NAC, Bangalore, and he has to catch the flight. So I'm just handing over to him that he will give his remarks so that he can move immediately and catch the plane.
Thank you, sir. Respected Professor Shirish Kulkarni ji, Professor Bhim Prasad Subedi ji, Professor Abdul Hanan, Dr. Mrs. Reem Darbala, Dr. Timur, Mrs. Aika. In fact, it is a great pleasure to be here for the International Conference on Academic Institution. It's a great honor for NAC also to be here, and I thank Professor Shirish Kulkarni ji for giving me this opportunity. NAC was established in the year 1994. Till 2017, we had a general pattern of visiting higher education institutions and accrediting. After seeing the international pattern global scenario of quality assurance in assessment and accreditation and assessment, we at NAC have adopted quantitative analysis and qualitative. Quantitative analysis is based on the third-party evaluation called as data verification and validation, and the qualitative analysis is by peer team visit. Also, there is another important component called as student satisfaction survey, which is the cardinal motto of any accreditation and assessment, because they are the clients of higher education institution. Here in NAC, we have the gradation system of A++ ranging to D grade, whereas the general practice at the international arena is only binary, either accredited or non-accredited. We are stepping into this phenomena of binary slowly. That is what the national education policy also mentions. In fact, to talk about the quality assessment in accreditation and assessment, the global ranking pattern is quite different from NAC. We have I'm just taking three different forums. One is the QS, the second one is Times, and the third is the Shanghai. In all the three, it is mapped with some of our 7 criteria like curricular aspect, teaching learning, research, infrastructure, student status, student support, governance, institutional value and practices. Of course, the access, equity and socio-economically disadvantaged group also is captured at the international level. For example, If it is an American-based accreditation, in every letter you see equal opportunity and affirmative action. This affirmative action has several questions, and equal opportunity means the accessibility towards higher education. Similarly, the same has been depicted in the national education policy. We have about 115 metrics as depicting or capturing various aspects of all the 7 criteria, whereas that is for the university. And for the colleges, we have around 98, and for autonomous colleges, 93. To sum up, the overall pattern is ranking is a dynamic system. Not that NAC is not dynamic, ranking is dynamic, which means to say every year it changes and the data keeps on updating and changing. Whereas NAC, once the gradation is conferred or gradation is obtained by the higher education institution, it is for a period of 5 years. Therefore, after 5 years, they keep changing. Nevertheless, every year there is an annual quality assurance report, and at the end of 5th year, all the 5-year annual quality assurance report becomes a self-study report. This is the only difference, and all the criteria, one way or the other, is mapped. Whereas in what I have observed at the Shanghai ranking is Nobel Prize winners and Nobel Prize in the pipeline, and students working under Nobel Prize. So these are some of the things which have been captured at the ranking. And of course, the uniform criteria or uniform phenomena is the research, whereas here we capture with the UGC CARE journals and some of the journals at top ranking, top-notch journals, whereas in Shanghai, what I have just gone through is nature publications or scientific reports. These have been given a lot of weightages. Of course, we can go on and on comparing the metrics and the mapping also. With this, let me stop. I thank Professor Shirish Kulkarni ji for all the consideration shown to me now. I am most grateful to you, sir. I sincerely beg your excuse. Dr. Pamnudi Raj will be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If I am allowed to speak for a moment, Dr. Sharma will be leaving us as he has a flight in the evening. I request Dr. Yogesh Yadav to give him a memento as a token of our respect and appreciation. Dr. Yadav.
May kindly request the guest to come forward. We are going to exchange the MOU between NAC and Kazakhstan IAAR. Dr. Timur, Dr. Aikis, and our international guests from Botswana, Syria. All the international guests, please. All the international guests, our guests, NAC guests, please. Can you come forward?
चेयरमैन के ये कोई बात नहीं, वो ठीक है, वो बुरे आए।
Okay. तो हमको चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है।
हाँ बोलो।
Being a teacher, we have the students in front of us, and we know that the capacity of a student to digest, and that is just a 45 minutes. And we are here since morning at 10 o'clock, rather 10:15 we have started, and we are ending nearby 5:30. So obviously that digestive power has gone, and the majority of have left the hall. One more thing, we have 7 panelists, the speakers. So I am requesting all the speakers that we will have to restrict ourselves for 3 minutes only. So that is first requirement of this session. If at all it has been suggested for 30 minutes, so within 30 minutes we have to complete. Now coming to the subject, this is the quality assurance, assessment and accreditation. See, since morning we are listening that education should be affordable, it should be accessible, and it should be a quality education. So if this is the case of quality education, then we have to be careful. Whenever I'm using this word, affordable, accessible, and quality education. See, educational institutions for higher education are private institutions also, and public institutions, that is a state governed institutions. So obviously, affordable is such institutions where the cost of education is low. But then again, there is one rider, that should be the quality education. And Director Sharmaji has already stated that standardized evaluation of higher education is necessary. Unless and until it is evaluated that how is the educational institution, that quality education the students will not get. And that's why this particular session is there. And in this session, I am lucky, I have a pride that I have got the parties panelists from different countries. So I will start with one of the panelists. May I request you, sir, will you start?
Timur, Dr. Timur. Dr. Timur, start. Kazakhstan.
Okay, thank you very much, dear esteemed conference participants and organizers. First of all, I would like to thank for invitation to this conference. It's our pleasure, absolute pleasure to be with you here today and to take part in the discussions on quality assurance and accreditation and assessment of education. May I have slides? Yeah. Well, yeah, before our slides is downloading, let me continue. Today topic is very important. As a director of NAC, our partner said, quality of education is very important topic, and this topic also broadly covered in the national education policy of 2020 of India. Here. I would like to share a little bit about higher education system and quality assurance system in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Um, as you know, Republic of Kazakhstan is a big country located in the Central Asia. We gained our independence in 1991, and today our capital is Nur-Sultan city. And Kazakh language is the official language of Kazakhstan, but we have a Russian language. It has a status of interethnic communication. And population of Kazakhstan exceeds 18 million. Yes, please, next slide. I just wanted to show size of our country. You probably know it's ninth largest country in the world, located in the Central Asia. Yeah, and if we speak about higher education system in the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan joined Bologna process in 2010, and from that time, the development of education was according to the priorities in the European higher education area. And we had major changes from that time. Please, next slide. Yeah, we first of all, of course, we introduced three-cycle qualification, which is bachelor, master's, and doctoral, and of course, encouraged universities to adopt a European credit transfer and accumulation system. Today, we have 128 higher education institutions in our country, and 624,000 students and more than 36,000 teaching staff. And if we speak about gross enrollment ratio for higher education in Kazakhstan, it was in 2019 61%, in 2020 70%. Of course, Kazakhstan's joining the Bologna process has helped spur the proliferation of international academic and institutional partnership. By the 2020-21 academic year, Kazakhstani universities had signed nearly 6,800 agreements with international partners from 85 countries. Aside from increasing student and teaching staff mobility, these collaborations helping to improve the knowledge and skills of domestic faculty and modernize academic courses and programs. And today in Kazakhstan, notably, joint and dual degree programs are developing very rapidly. And please, next slide. And of course, internationalization of higher education is very important in our country. And many students from Kazakhstan studying abroad. Today, in 2019, it was 89,000 students. But also, students from other countries also come to Kazakhstan. It's not such a big number, it's 28,000 students. But here I would like to mention that bigger number of foreign students comes from Uzbekistan and India. India is a significant source of international students in Kazakhstan. Over the past 5 years, Indian students' enrollment has grown by 159%, rising from 1,700 students in 2016 to 4,400 students in 2020. Much of that growth is driven by the demand of Indian students for medical education. Most of students from India study in medical field. Please, next slide. And in Kazakhstan, according to the European qualification framework, in 2012, we developed our national qualification framework, which contains 8 levels and of course corresponds to the European qualification framework adopted in 2018. Next slide, please. And now let me stop a little bit about quality assurance system in Kazakhstan. As a full member of European higher education area, Kazakhstan follows European standards and guidelines for quality assurance ESG. And quality assurance system in Kazakhstan based on principles of trust and sustainability. And it has three components. First, it's minimum requirements for the content of education, which is state compulsory standards, model educational programs of general educational disciplines, controlled by the Ministry of Education. Second component, it's a minimum requirement for the implementation, which is qualification requirements for educational activities of higher education institutions. And third component of quality assurance system, it's accreditation. Our government established requirements for the accreditation agencies. Accreditation in Kazakhstan recognized as an effective tool for evaluation of higher education institutions and its programs. According to the legislation, accreditation is voluntary, and independence of the educational organizations for selecting accreditation body is guaranteed. Next slide, please. And in 2012, our Ministry of Education and Science created a national register of the recognized accreditation agencies, which is called Register 1. Also, we have Register 2, which is a list of accredited educational organizations which passed institutional accreditation. And Register 3, this is a list of accredited educational programs for program accreditation. Any university from Kazakhstan can choose any agency which is registered in the National Register of Ministry of Education. And today we have 6 national agencies and 5 foreign agencies. 3 of them German agencies, which is FIBA, Acuin, ASEAN, and 1 Belgian agency, Music, and 1 from US, ACBSP. According to national requirements, in order to enter to the Register 1, you shall be member of European Quality Assurance Network, ENCA, and should be listed in European Quality Assurance Register, EGAR. And let me just briefly to tell you about our agency, where we come from. It's an independent agency for accreditation and rating, which was established in 2011. We are one of these 6 agencies, which is included to the Register of Ministry. We are functioning from 2011, but we already member of a lot of quality assurance networks, which you can see in the slide. Yeah. We are active in 11 countries today. You can see in the slide, we make accreditation in Kazakhstan, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Romania, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. Mostly we make accreditation according to the ESG and World Federation for Medical Education Standards, which is for medical higher education institutions. And of course, we have a big reviewers database, which we're proud of, our experts and reviewers. We have 3,500 experts from 31 countries. If we speak about National Educational Policy 2020 of India, we were hearing today about principles of this policy, and I would say that many principles, many priorities are similar to our country's educational program, development of educational program. Please, next slide. And here I would like to highlight that we're also discussing the reform of 12-year compulsory education reform at school level. We also have in the agenda in Kazakhstan professional standards for teachers. Of course, not only for teachers, but for other fields as well. And a very interesting point was in this national educational policy, it is a standard setting accreditation for school education. I think this is very progressive. And in our country, we also have discussion because now it is controlled by the Ministry of Education and under the state control. But accreditation of schools, I would say it's a very progressive proposal. And of course, very interesting issue about the governance of higher education institutions with the qualified independent boards having academic and administrative autonomy. This is also very important issue in Kazakhstan when we adopted law on academic freedom in 2018, and most of our universities today have independent boards, governing boards as well. And of course, these issues as online assessment is also very important today. This is a demand of 21st century, I would say. Internationalization and centers of excellence also was told today a lot about this. And these centers also developing in our country. And a lot of similar things. And I would like to say that I would like to wish only good luck for realization of this policy. Yes, thank you very much. If you have any questions, please.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll take it. With the permission of the convener, can we have Dr. Reem Darbala from Egypt, please?
So, good evening, everybody. So thank you very much for the organizers and for Ranak for inviting me to participate in such a prestigious event. Actually, I'm very happy to be here in India. It was a dream for me, so thank you for that. Now I'm going to speak about the education system and the higher education system in Egypt. No, I haven't. So those are what we are going to talk about. And I will start my presentation about a quote from here from India. So the future depends on what we do in the present by Mahatma Gandhi. And actually, yes, what we are doing here and what the Indian government is doing here in the national plan for education is shaping the future of our nations and our generations. And actually, I believe that the future of our countries, our nation, our generations is shaped on the classrooms and on the universities. When we learn our students. So, of course, Egypt, as you know, it lies in, as you can show in the map, in the heart of the world, between three main continents, Africa, Asia, and Europe. This is our total area, around 1 million square kilometer. The majority are land. Our governmental type is presidential republic, and our capital is Cairo. The legislature is bicameral parliament, consists of the Senate and House of Representatives. When it comes to population, so the majority of the population, as you can show in the map, lives around the Nile River and its delta, and we are around 106 million inhabitants. In Egypt, we consider ourselves as a young nation because like 50% of the population are youth from 0 to 25 years. So we have this demographic opportunity. So we are in the challenge to prepare all of those people to be good citizens. That's why the government taking several steps towards the goal of youth empowerment. As we are assigning leaders in political situations or political, we have deputy ministers from youth. We have ministers' assistants. We have 2 governors. They are youth, and we have 23 deputy governors in Egypt, and 30% of them are female. Also, the youth empowerment mechanism come from the presidential program to prepare young people for leadership, PLP, which launched in September 2019. And establishing a national academy for training and rehabilitation of youth. According to a presidential decree in 2017. Also, we were conducting youth conferences, 8 national youth conferences, and 3 world youth conferences, and 2 African youth conferences. This month, we will conduct the 4th one. When it comes to economic situation, the unemployment rate is 7.3, and the workforce is 29 million. And of course, Egypt was one of the few emerging market countries that experienced a positive growth rate in 2020 as a result of government's swift and burden policy response, and this is according to the IMF. So our government supports the education strategy because they believe that economic competitiveness of Egypt invests in both infrastructure and trained workforce. So they initiated new smart cities, great road network, new administrative capital, digital infrastructure, and also they believe in education justice and quality education as a human right. So we aim to create a new generation capable for keeping pace the changes of labor market and its development. And also we aim at create self-aware, critical thinking people who can grow up to both the economy and to help our country. So this is our education system. We have 633 education system. We have also diverse in the school system and in universities. The number of enrollment is 22 million students, and we have around 60,000 schools. Here I can show the GER in pre-primary education and primary education. In pre-primary education is around 30%, and the primary education 99%. And the other graph shows the GER for male and female. So you will find in Egypt, there is no big difference regarding the gender in enrollment in schools. The same here for secondary education and tertiary education, and the GER for tertiary education 35.5%. Egypt launched a new education system, Education 2.0, which have a different vision. They want they want students to enjoy with education. We try to make it easy, related to digitalization, related to the needs of labor market, also to be linked to the local communities. When it comes to higher education in Egypt, we have like 27 public universities, 28 private ones, and 4 non-profit universities, 8 technical colleges, and 3 technical universities, 171 private education institute, and Al-Azhar University. And recently, we have 3 international branch campuses. Sorry, I'm running because of the time. So we have like 3 million students enrollment, 120,000 teaching staff, and around 450,000 postgraduate students. The ratio of teaching staff to student 24:1. And also, we have international students, around 70,000 international students from different countries and in different specialization, medicine, engineering, law. So according also to our Vision 2030 for education, we have like 3 main pillars: equal access to education, high quality education system, and improving the competitiveness of education. So Egypt seeks excellence in higher education and scientific research to be able to prepare for the 4th and 5th industrial revolution, and also for the 5th society or society 5.0. And also to be prepared for future work, as too many studies from McKinsey shows that 20% of the global workforce could work from away from online. Also, we learned that there is some jobs will disappear and other will new jobs we will see it, or we start to see it on LinkedIn, like hologram stylist, virtual coacher, designer, augmented reality life designer, personal brain trainer. So how are we going to prepare our students for such jobs? Okay. So some indicators for from our strategy that we would like to increase access to reach 40% in 2023, and this is similar to Indian also target. Improve quality and modernization of higher education to reach 90% of our institution to be accredited in 2030. Align, of course, with the labor market needs, and also enhance international competitiveness. To reach that, we need to open 1 million new opportunity in higher education in Egypt until 2030. So this is a real challenge, but we to do that, we need to we are working on open new world-class higher education institutions, enhance quality and inclusion in higher education. We work in attracting the world-class IBCs, train teachers and teaching staff, enhancing the education, the vocational education, and establishing new technical university, and open SABAS to the students who enrolled in the vocational education. Improving the links with the labor market, and also focusing on creativity and innovation. Also, interdisciplinary is one of the most important issues in Egypt. So when it comes back to accreditation, And we have in Egypt a national authority for quality assurance and accreditation of education, NACA, which is established in 2006. And it's an independent entity to assure impartiality of its decisions, and the policies are documented and published for transparency and accountability. The process of accreditation is actually, NACA has set the standards, and actually the Ministry of Higher Education is supporting the universities and the colleges by allocated funds to establish quality assurance unit inside each college and each university, and to manage the process of quality assurance, and to be able to get accreditation from NACA. Now we are working on also establishing new accreditation body for vocational education and training with cooperation with UNESCO. When it comes to the Indian national education policy, actually, I believe it will be like a turning point in the history of education in India, because yes, it's focusing on the students, it's focusing on new digital platform of learning and innovates techniques in teaching. And I think it will provide like a new model for education in India. And actually, I find this statistics from Coursera, where India is number 2 or the second country in registering in Coursera courses, and I think you have like a base to go and it's a very prestigious thing. Okay. About the national, what I found that there is you are planning for a solid learning foundation and a strong academic growth, a holistic development and the students for all grades, and this is inspires a shift in depth understanding, and also to create more space for critical thinking and discussions and analysis while teaching. The national curriculum and the pedagogical framework for early childhood, this is very important and align with the SDG 4. Flexibility in a choice of subject, and so you thinking about the enjoyment of education for students, and of course skills development.
Can you just make it fast and close it? Because we have 2 more presentations, please.
Okay. So we have also similarities from our national plan and your national plan, and Kazakhstan as well. So we have like opportunities for cooperation, joint degree programs, student mobility, joint research, and teaching staff mobility. So I will finish my presentation with this quote from African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone, and but if you want to go far, go together. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Reem from Egypt. Now may I kindly request Professor Abdul, a diplomat, CEO from Maldives, Male. So kindly stick on to time, sir, please.
Hi all, thank you very much Indian government, NAC, Gujarat government for inviting me to this prestigious summit, vibrant Gujarat Education Summit, and within it International Conference of Academic Institutions. For me, I regard myself a global citizen. Therefore, events like this is important for me, especially India. As you know, India has a population of 1.3 billion people. That means what happens in India matters to all of us, to the world. So do me. I come from the Maldives. Maldives is, I think, as you know, located in the Indian Ocean, very close to India, not very far, especially very close to Lakshadweep. Our population is around 400,000 people compared to India, very few people. But I think as a nation, this population is enough for us, and we don't need much increase in the population. Next. As far as a higher education system in the Maldives is concerned, we have a higher education ministry, and we have two national universities and 14 colleges, including many private colleges. And in terms of school education, our education system is very accessible for all the sectors of the society. So there is a universal primary education in terms of accessibility. And gross enrollment ratio has been increasing recently, and in 2005 it is around 29%. In terms of skills education, very recently under the Higher Education and Training Act, Maldives National Skills Development Authority has been created. Before, it used to be Tibet Authority. In terms of equity and inclusiveness, I would say that this is not an issue for the Maldives, because there is no discrimination of gender accessibility to education and different sectors of the country. Especially, Maldives is a nation with one race. There's only one race in the country, one language, and one religion. Maybe that's the reason it is much easier for us to handle these issues of equity and inclusiveness. Next. In terms of quality assurance, we have Maldives Qualifications Authority. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Maldives Qualifications Authority. Initially, in 2000, Maldives Accreditation Board was created. And we have a Maldives National Qualifications Framework as well. In terms of the functions of the quality assurance, because the quality assurance, this is the umbrella term. Within the quality assurance, there are two types, accreditation and audit. In accreditation, we do program accreditation, but we do not do institutional accreditation. I understand in India, NAC is focusing on institutional accreditation. For audit, we do institutional audit. We started implementing institutional audit in 2017. In terms of the national education policy of India, I think I have read the document. In my opinion, this is really big. India has done this big country of 1.3 billion with many states, many races, many types of education systems, has come up with a very good policy document, National Education Policy 2020. When I read it, I find it a perfect policy document. And I think there are a lot of genius brains behind this policy. And I hope to see this policy being implemented in India. And I see it may happen. It may happen because this national policy is being endorsed and supported by Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, and also in Gujarat, people like Chief Minister of Gujarat and Education Minister and Higher Education Minister, all these high-ranking people, they know what is in this policy. They developed this policy and they want to do it. What I see in this policy document is basically representation of United Nations SDG 4, where you can read, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So overall, in the NEP 2020, what I see, there are very main key terms, keywords: equality, equity, inclusiveness, and also skills development is there. So basically, these 3-4 terms sums up the whole policy. This is big. So India is trying to do a very big thing, and I think this is a very noble intention to do this, and I hope they will succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diplomat, Professor.
Hello, oh, wait a minute. Anybody is there?
UGC Chairman, Nepal. Professor.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank NAC, Government of India and Government of Gujarat giving me this opportunity to be amidst this august gathering. Thank you, Professor Kulkarni, my colleagues on the panels and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by saying that whatever I will be presenting here, it's a simple journey, a very, very brief journey forward to higher education and quality assurance and accreditation in Nepal. Next, please. On this slide, I just wanted to show the place reality of the country. Nepal is a small country. It occupies 0.3% of the Asia's population and 0.03% of the entire world's territory. India is 22 times bigger than Nepal in terms of territory. And in terms of population, it is 48 times larger. It's a rectangular shaped country. It's a land-linked country. Some of the silent features of the country is we are known basically from the name of Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, Lumini, the birthplace of Buddha, Sherpa, the great mountaineering people, and then, this is the only country that has got triangular flag. That's about the place. Next, please. I just wanted to share this map with you. You just share like, up in the upper part is a mountain, in the middle part it's hill, and the southern one is the Tarai. So it's a mix of mountain, hill, and Tarai. Larger proportion is covered by mountain, and the map also shows the recently restructured state. That is, we do have 7 provinces by now. Earlier we used to have, we didn't have this federal type of government. And this bar shows the territory and population wise ratio of these 7 provinces. Next, please. I just wanted to show you how the population is growing in the country. You will notice that from 1750 all the way up to 2011,
May I now request esteemed speakers of a session on innovation and research and the convener of this session. First of all, I would like to introduce him. The convener of this session is Dr. J.M. Vyas, Honorable Vice Chancellor, National Forensic Sciences University. He is the recipient of number of awards and certificates, including the prestigious President's Police Medal for meritorious service in the field of crime investigation, Lifetime Achievement Award in the area of forensic chemistry. So we are glad to have you here. Please give a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker. We have with us Professor Sharad Gupta, Associate Dean R&D and External Projects, IIT Gandhinagar. Welcome, sir. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor P.S. Anil Kumar, Dean Finance and Administration, IISc Bangalore. His research interests are in the spintronics, magnetic nanostructures, etc. Welcome, sir. We have with us Dr. Man Singh Sidhu, Counselor for Science, Technology and Higher Education, Embassy of Norway. Dr. Sidhu has extensive and wide work experiences in research and innovation, public administration, as well as in the form of international industries. Welcome you, sir. Let me brief you about the session. Promotion of research and knowledge creation emerges from conductive academic development at all levels. Higher education institutions should focus on research and innovation by setting up startup incubation center, technology development center, centers in frontier areas of research, establishing greater industry academic linkages and performing interdisciplinary research, including humanities and social sciences. In this context, there is a need to develop strategies and take necessary action for enhancing research and promoting research and innovation at our higher education institution. A goal-oriented and focused plan needs to be developed by higher education institution to achieve highest possible standards in research and innovation. With this brief note, I would like to hand over this mic to our convener, Dr. J.M. Vyas, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, National Forensic Sciences University. Sir, mic is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And good evening, everybody. It's a very important session on research and innovation. Why? Because research is, in a way, very important in our day-to-day life. Every human being wants ease and comfort in the life. And that's what the aim of every government is, to see that the citizens are living with ease, comfort, and there's a quality in life. Now, to give this ease, comfort, and quality, we have to come out with newer technology. Now, olden days, the surgeries which were carried out using crude methods, and now you have all kinds of technology available, including robots. Now, robotic surgeries are possible. Now, this has given more comfort to the patients. Now, with ease, the operations can be undertaken. This is how a wide number of examples. So, and the best example, according to me, is research done in the field of combating COVID-19. The vaccines which India, the credit goes to India also, because there are very few countries in the world which could come out with vaccines. And India could come out with 3 types of vaccines. And this has changed the scenario. And it did not help only the citizens of this country, but we could help as many as 60, 70 countries by exporting these vaccines. Now, this is a result of a good research. So, research in a way should be a need-based research. And what is the role of university? That is what we are going to discuss. But that need-based research is, even in PhD admissions, I would suggest that when the student comes for filing a PhD application, he or she will not give the project of his choice or her choice. Instead, university has to focus the areas which are important to the public, general importance. And these areas, then students have to pick up according to their own ability. And if they are pursuing research in that area which is identified by the universities, I think that research will be more useful, more focused, more public-oriented, and can give a tremendous amount of benefits to the public and the government. This is what the need of the hour is. I don't want to take more time on this, but then we would like to listen to all eminent speakers who are here as panelists, and let us listen to them and understand in detail what is this research and innovation is. So firstly, I would request Professor P.S. Anil Kumar. He is Dean of Finance, IISc Bangalore. So please give your comments on what we understand. And then, because there is a paucity of time, I would request the speakers to finish the talk within 6-7 minutes maximum. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor. First of all, let me thank the organizers for inviting me here to present about IISc, and Professor Shivprasad has invited me for this meeting. So quickly, I will give a glimpse about IISc, just those who are not aware of IISc. So here it's mentioned science, engineering, and medical research. Those who are aware of IISc knows that there's no medical research at IISc, so this is what I'm going to just tell. So just to give some history, this is one of the first public-private partnership program where Jamshedji Tata has established this institution. And the land was donated by the Mysore Maharaja. And the vision is to provide for advanced instruction and also the material development of this country. So that was the vision. And if you look at the legacy, we are the #1 university in India according to the NIRF ranking, and world's #1 in terms of citations per faculty for the publications that we make. And we are an institute of eminence. So if you look at IISc, we had several eminent people who were at IISc who went on and then created the technological wealth and scientific wealth in the country. The first Indian director, Sir C.V. Raman, and Professor Homi Bhabha was associated to Indian Institute of Science. He was the father for the Indian nuclear program. And Vikram Sarabhai, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai was associated to Indian Institute of Science, and he is the father of the Indian space program. And Sir J.C. Ghosh was the first director of IIT Kharagpur. In that way, we would say that IISc Bangalore is the mother institution for IITs. And Professor Satish Dhawan, he was the chair of ISRO, and Professor C.N.R. Rao, and he was a former director, and now he founded the Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research. For the nation building, IISc has made a lot of contribution in terms of a light compact aircraft, or whether it's a missile program, whether it's a Mars orbiter mission, etc. And also the institutions like TAFR, Central Power Research Institution, Wipro, Jawaharlal Nehru Scientific Center, etc. So IISc today has got 6 different divisions where we cover all sort of engineering and science at IISc. So we have around 4,200 students, 42 departments, etc. And we have several recognitions. We have 2 people who received Bharat Ratna, and several Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, etc., and many other national and international awards. So in terms of citation, as I mentioned, that IISc is #1 in citation per faculty in the world ranking. And we have several new initiatives. This is where it comes that the cross-disciplinary research themes at IISc. For example, we have brain computation and data science, because we have a center for neuroscience, we have computer science engineering departments, we have bioengineering departments. So all these things, departments collaborate together, and we work on brain computation and data science, biomedical systems and devices, quantum technologies. This is the latest initiative that is going on, cancer research, cybersecurity, materials informatics, sensors and IoT, and visual analytics. So these are the cross-disciplinary areas where multiple departments are participating and developing newer and newer concepts and technology. And if you go further, if you look at here, there are some of the developments that has happened in the recent examples of, due to the COVID, all of us suffered with the lack of oxygen and other things. So IISc put a lot of effort in making oxygen concentrators, oxygen generators, then COVID-19 warm vaccine. That is one of the development that is happening at IISc. All of us know that most of the COVID vaccines need to be preserved at low temperature, and IISc is now developing a warm vaccine. It is into the trials now. So, and also we have new major R&D initiatives about digital health, autonomous systems, manufacturing, clean coal technology. The coal, India is having wealth of coal, And we cannot just avoid coal technology saying that environmental pollution. So you'll have to find out methods of using coal without pollution. So these are the new initiatives IISc is taking up. And also, we are also taking mission mode national initiatives. For example, if you consider vaccines, indigenous vaccine development, then energy, and then India is starting this gallium nitride fabrication center at IISc. So these are the new initiatives, and also additive manufacturing, for example, metal 3D printing. So these are the mission mode national initiative IISc is now doing. So now in the last 1 or 2 minutes, let me just talk about the IISc Medical School, the next frontier at IISc. So what we are trying to do, see, I've told you that we have basic sciences, all basic sciences, we have all engineering and technology. Now we are adding this medical science to our fleet. So we are going to introduce clinical sciences at IISc. So now you have under one roof basic science, engineering, and clinical science, and the intersection gives IISc there. So this is what we are planning to get done in the coming future. So we have a clear vision and a mission. So the vision is excellence in clinical research and medical technology. And also we want to impact the 6 million population, 6 billion people in the country, and also and quality and affordable healthcare for all. So these are the vision, mission, and value for this medical school that we have. So in terms of the funding, so what we are looking for is 850 crores of capital expenditure to establish this medical school. Through CSR and other philanthropic grants, we are trying to achieve this. So with this, let me just thank you for your attention. So I just wanted to tell you that research and innovation is very important for any country. And now IISc is, so far IISc has established itself as a Center for Excellence in Basic Science and Engineering. And we are now venturing out to the medical technology as well, so that under one roof we have the combination of all these three, with which we hope that we can improve the quality of life in the country further. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Anil Kumar, for giving brief about the IISc, which is carrying out research in varieties of areas. One of them, as I discussed, is in also preservation of vaccine. So the next eminent speaker is Professor Sarath Gupta. He is Associate Dean R&D and External Project, IIT Gandhinagar.
Actually, Professor P.S. Anil Kumar sir wanted to leave this session because he's having flight. So he has requested us to leave the talk in between, but whatever he said was indeed great. Sir, we won't allow you to leave without taking token of love. I would like to request Honorable Dr. J.M. Vyas sir to present memento. Thank you so much. I request licensing officer of Professor P.S. Anil Kumar to take the memento and take him to outside.
Professor Sarath Gupta, please.
So first of all, this is after a very long time. Actually, I'm giving a public talk, thanks to COVID. So first of all, I just want to thank the organizers for organizing this wonderful event. And it's very nice hospitality by the team. And of course, Professor Vyas for introducing and providing this opportunity to speak at this forum. So, sorry, I don't have any presentation, but I would like to discuss more about the research and innovation, especially the elements of a national education policy. And I think the starting point I would take what Professor Vyas just said about the development of COVID vaccine. So one of the reason we have been very successful in this domain in India is because all three major partners, rather four, whether it's government, the academic institutions, industry, and people, they all came together and worked hard to develop these vaccines. Now, this is a unique opportunity to transform the whole research ecosystem. The reason being that traditionally what we see, the problem with the disconnect between the academic research and the industry need, societal needs, there is always a disconnect. And that always hurts because academic research is going in different direction, industrial research, industry needs something else, and societal needs are different. This was a unique opportunity where we could come together and do something really great. Now, how we can transform? This has to start at the ground level. What we see, because I'm holding the role of associate in R&D, so I look after what kind of students join in, what kind of research projects they prefer, what is their research requirement and all. What we have noticed over time that students, the researcher, future researcher, they have preset mind. It all starts with the basic education. So they are oriented already towards something, and we need to educate them. We need to provide them proper exposure to understand the needs, the need of the industry, need of the society, and how they can plan for the future. And there, the academic institutions, universities have a very important role to play, not only just to worry about the higher education, but also to engage early at the 10+2 level, 10th level, and give them the proper exposure so that they can think about variety of different problems. After COVID, what we see is that there's a lot of interest in the industry to collaborate with the academia. There is a lot of initiative taken by the government to promote research, innovation, and connect to the school level. And now it's our responsibility to take this further and make more progress in this regard. I would stop at this point for the paucity of time, right? And if any questions, take it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Saras Gupta, for an excellent presentation. A lot of research is going on in the field of how to combat and handle COVID. Just one instance came to my mind is, we all know that copper vessels, if we keep water in copper and keep it for some time, and when you take it, that water becomes free from bacteria and viruses. That was the olden days. Now research has been done. People have created nanoparticles of copper. Now these copper nanoparticles are able to destroy corona, COVID-19. Till Delta, everything has been done. So we are now doing research on what is the role of Omicron on this. So Omicron study is going on. But then after copper nanoparticles, people also came out with silver nanoparticles, and then the aluminum nanoparticles were also tried. And they are all affecting. They are able to destroy, and that destruction and that capacity of destroying COVID remains for almost 90 days. So this is the role of research. This is how you come out with newer and newer things, which is again ultimately beneficial to the public. So research should be public oriented. It should be beneficial to them. And the best example is the invention of mobile. Now you are moving with internet 24/7. You are in contact with the entire world. Excellent piece of research. And then research should also be economically viable. The best example, even the lowest level of person is now able to afford mobiles. So this is how you come out with a technology which is important, useful, makes the life of public more easy, and then it also economically viable. So this is what the importance of the research is. Now, the last speaker is Dr. Man Singh Sidhu. He is Counselor for Science, Technology and Higher Education, Embassy of Norway. I request him to make his presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Vyas, and ladies and gentlemen. Although it's quite late today, so I won't be taking so much time, but my talk will be basically what we are doing, how we are promoting and accelerating the Indo-Norway collaboration in India. So, thank you. In this presentation, so I will be highlighting three things. Some of the strategic document already presented we have with India-Norway collaborations, some roadmaps, and some of the activities, science and technology activities in India going on, which are the thematic areas are important, and what are the collaboration opportunities we offer for Gujarat government as well as the universities and business in Gujarat together with our colleagues in Norway. So this is basically three things I will going to touch in my presentation, and lastly I will be happy to take some questions and comments after this session. My name is Dr. Sidhu, and I'm representing 4 organizations in India. The first one is the embassy, the Royal Norwegian Embassy, where we take the diplomatic charges, diplomatic responsibility, and we build relations with government to government. Second is like Norwegian Research Council, which is the only funding agency in Norway. Research Council of Norway is covering all the discipline. We have funding for all discipline, you name it, health, transport, agriculture, and many other areas, covering all discipline. And the third organization which I am covering is the Norwegian Directorate for Higher Education and Skill. So this organization is funding agency which is promoting and helping Norwegian researchers in student mobility, staff mobility, and many other such kind of activities in India as well as many other prioritized countries in the world. So these are the 4 organizations where I'm working very closely with and have mandate from these organizations in India. So what we do is we are helping making like bridge between Indian partners with Norwegian partners. Whoever is interested and have got some kind of mutual interest to collaborate with our partners in India, in Norway. So we facilitate that. We are willing to have to explore the possibilities for doing MOU with counterpart in India or state government or like state universities or institution level as well. And we also facilitate like having like arrangements, meeting, conference, and workshop, seminar, and so on. And we have also like bilateral funding opportunities where we fund through the Research Council of Norway as well as the Norwegian Directorate for Higher Education and Skill, and try to match make the similar kind of activities in India as well. So these are the main activities where we are looking forward to have more and more activities toward also with universities and research institutes in Gujarat. We believe, in fact, on the knowledge triangle. Knowledge triangle means higher education, research, and innovation. What we are looking or experiencing so far is that all these 3 factors are moving apart. There is very little connection at this moment but we are very much looking forward to have some connections, some collaboration between academia and academia collaboration, academia and business collaboration, and business to business collaboration in our collaboration with India and Norway projects, as well as activities. So this is what we are looking forward to adopt that kind of model in Gujarat, as well as universities in Gujarat. Why we are looking such kind of activities? Because we have a very solid background strategic document, which was launched a couple of years ago. That is called Norway India 2030 strategy. And this strategy has already identified some of the areas, key areas, where we are looking forward to collaborate with you and your colleagues in Gujarat, as well as from India. And some of the key areas of interest where we are looking forward is ocean and ocean technology, climate change, environment, renewable energies, global health, research and innovation, higher education. And these are the main activities where we are looking forward to have an open dialogue and to explore collaboration opportunities. Another important document is Panorama strategy. This is lately renewed very recently last year. Previously, this Panorama strategy included only 6 prioritized countries in the world, including India. But this time, in the updated strategy, we have included, or Norwegian government has included 9 prioritized strategic countries in the world. And India is being one of them. So therefore, India is a very important country for us in Norway to collaborate and find new opportunities for collaboration. The third important document is white paper from the Norwegian government. This is on higher education and student mobility. The government has got, Norwegian government has got like ambitions that more than 50% of Norwegian students should bring their higher study time outside Norway. And at this stage, I think 18 to 20% of Norwegian students bringing their studies outside. So we have a lot of work to do. It means that there are a lot of opportunities to bring Norwegian students outside Norway. And since being India as an important strategic country, so India is also could be an important country to explore and find opportunities here. Here is the list of long list where we have strength, where we have different strength in Norway. We have, since we have long coastal areas, so we have very solid competencies in maritime sector, marine sector, blue economy, circular economy, renewable energies, medical, ICT, nanotechnologies, and these are the areas where we are looking forward to see how we can collaborate in the near future with you. This is the same thing where we have already identified some, based on this Norway India 2030 strategy, we have identified some core thematic areas where we can explore together with you and find some collaboration opportunities. Having said that, so I would like to emphasize three kind of collaboration what we are doing at present with India. The first one is unilateral, where unilateral collaboration, where we are funding the Norwegian partners only. But the condition is that we encourage Norwegian partners to collaborate with the 9 prioritized countries. And since India is one of the 9 prioritized countries, so India is also one of the strategic important countries where we want to include in the collaborative project or collaborative activities. This is the first one. And second is bilateral collaboration. And in the bilateral collaboration, we are also together with Research Council of Norway or the Norwegian Director for Higher Education. So we are making some kind of calls together with our counterpart in India, like DST, Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Earth Sciences, ICMR, and so on, and make a call where we encourage like India-Norway partnership to apply for funding, and the good proposal get funded from both sides. And the third one is like multilateral, where we, in the previous time, we have seen that some of the fundings have been also came through the Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020. But in the new framework program, Horizon Europe, we don't know exactly what the condition, what the status of India is. Is India at this moment interested in or being are interested in being active partner in Horizon Europe? That is still pending, so that needs to be explored in the future. So this is the one project where I would like to mention. It is, as an example for multilateral project. So myself as a coordinator for this project called Nordics in India. This project has been funded by the Nordic Council of Ministers. So I'm collaborating with my partners from Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. So we have started a new project where we are going to showcase and find collaborations opportunities with Nordic and India. Not only Norway, but Nordic and India, where we will try to showcase our strength, our potential, and how this could be taken forward. So in these projects, we have planned three kind of activities. One is high-level dialogue meeting in Delhi, and this is already going to schedule in 31st of January this year, followed by making a report of this high-level dialogue meeting. We will be organizing 2 workshops on 2 different state level. After completing all these 3 activities or events, we will be preparing a report. And this report will be a guideline for upcoming calls, like funding calls from the Nordic to and India. So this is an example where I'm trying to focus how we are working in India, for an example. Here are a list of previously funded projects and calls between DST, ICMR, and like in the field of bioeconomy, circular economy, blue economy, nanotechnology, ICT, climate change, and and there is also a list of the funded project, successful funded projects. Some of these projects are already going on, and some are finished, and have got good project and resulted with good publications and results. So this kind of activities will also have given us some fruitful collaboration in the past. Here is an example of another multilateral collaboration between India and Norway or EU. These are the 37 contracts. This statistic is based on last year from 2019, 2020 May 2020. So according to this statistics, 37 contract has been signed between EU and India, where Norway, India, and one or more countries from EU has been participating in different thematic areas. So such kind of activities can be also one potential area where we can explore if India is again is willing to be active partner in this new framework program, Horizon Europe. But this is again pending. We don't know the status at this moment. At least I don't know. This is the current figure where it shows how the incoming and outgoing student from India and from Norway to India and from India to Norway is. If the last year you can see the graph, the line has dropped, and potentially this could be the reason due to COVID. There is a restriction for traveling and all those things. So this doesn't mean that the collaboration has been weakened. No, collaboration is still going on, but the traveling has been limited due to COVID restrictions. And these numbers are only for those students who has been visiting in either India or Norway, minimum for 3 months. But less than 3 months, we haven't included in this graph. So if we include those numbers as well, then the status of this graph will be completely different. So these are these are some relevant calls which are upcoming and on pipeline. And we hope that in the near coming few months, these calls will be launched. and most of them are unilateral, where we are encouraging the researchers from Norway to involve Indian partners as well. So this is what we offer you. If you have any question, so please feel free to contact us in the embassy or to me. I will be happy to assist you or guide you whatever we can do in our jurisdictions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sidhu. I think Norway, India we can have very good collaborations. He has covered almost all the areas where they have offered collaborations for research and innovation, climate change, nanotechnology, medicine, marine, almost all areas have been covered. What I could see, the areas which are not covered so far, is the area of cybersecurity and cybercrime. These are the areas where we need a high level of research, because we are losing a lot of money in cybercrimes, and we don't have specific technology to identify the perpetrator, because person sitting in America can take away money from somebody's account in India. Now, identifying that person in USA, that needs a lot of technological development, and this is the area where we are losing a lot of money, a lot of crimes. We become victims of a large number of crimes, but we are not able to come out with a solution. So this is the area where research is in demand. And also security, we need to secure our digital systems right from our mobile phones. So we have to come out with newer and newer technology and indigenous innovation of technology, so that we don't help only India, but the entire world. So this is the need of the hour. Now the next eminent speaker has offered his talk from online is Professor B. Ravi. He's from IIT Mumbai. I think let us listen to his talk. He will please take 7-8 minutes and finish your talk. Thank you.
Yeah, very good evening to everyone in the room. Professor Vyas, it was a fantastic session. All the audience in the room, I'm so very happy that you are able to get the gems of wisdom from so many people across the world. Absolutely great session. What I would
Please
like to
unmute
do is,
your
I have
system. Please unmute your system.
I have unmuted. Organizers, please, can you unmute me? Organizers, can you unmute me?
You are not audible. Please unmute your system.
Am I audible now? Organizers, you have to unmute me. Organizers, can you unmute me? Organizers, can you hear me? Then you can unmute me. राजेश, you have to unmute me. आप मुझे unmute करना है.
Yeah, you please,
Yeah, I don't know. Am I now unmuted? All right. All right. Thank you so much. Chairman ji, am I audible now? Okay, if I'm audible, just I'll go ahead with a short presentation. I think we already lost a couple of minutes in that. So quickly, what I would like to share is that how do we connect basically research, which is very important. That the theme of this session is how do we take research to innovation. But this is also meant for teachers and education. The whole conference is about education. So I thought, let me connect research, education to innovation, entrepreneurship. I call it reinvent for short. In a sense, it is reinventing of individual teachers and departments and organizations, and of course, beyond that into region and society. So I come in with different backgrounds. I'm a faculty of mechanical engineering, but I also had the School of Entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay. And I have been, for the last 10 years, spending time on medical device innovation at a center called BETIC. That's how my background is set up. What I would like to take your attention to is that if you, am I audible? Am I okay? All right, shall I go ahead? Okay. So there is echo coming in for some reason. I don't know why. So this is, if you look at knowledge and products as x-axis and look at creation and transfer as y-axis, you can get 4 quadrants. What I'm trying to look at is, if you look at these 4 quadrants, knowledge, creation is research and so on, we think that these 4 things are done by 4 different kinds of people. And the mindset that the knowledge and wealth cannot coexist. I mean, why can't we use knowledge to use wealth, and why can't we use wealth to create more knowledge? But this mindset is so strong in our culture and milieu, is that we need to put a lot of energy to bring together these 2 sides. I mean, conversion of knowledge to wealth and wealth to knowledge and so on. And in the whole pathway of from a concept generation in an R&D lab to proof of concept development, taking it further into prototype to a product to market, this whole pathway is filled with the valleys of death. And academia thinks that if they publish a paper or file a patent, their job is done. But it is not done unless you actually create a replicable product with the process, with the bill of materials, with the quality tests and so on. Then only the industry is able to replicate that and mass produce that. So the day we understand this, the third value of death has to be crossed by academia primarily, with help from industry, of course, little bit. But primary responsibility academia, if you can take that, then we can see a lot more research going into products, into society. So we came up with this whole program called as Reinvent, where we take teachers and we teach them how do you make meaningful proposals, which are where we start with the end application in mind and not just some publication which is done in some other country, and go all the way into defending and project management, and also make sure that patents are more industry friendly and so on. When we say education, we talk about combining not just science and theory, but also to technology and engineering translation and testing and practice and so on. Innovation, we came up with a 4D framework saying define a problem first properly with market immersion, then develop, deliver, and then deploy in the market. And for entrepreneurship, we are looking at an ecosystem which is all inclusive and so on. I'll give you, Jerry, half a minute glimpses of these things and the crux of some wisdom which we gain from talking to literally hundreds and thousands of teachers. Most engineering college teachers just simply go and start teaching without any practical insights. We told them, why don't you go take a visit on a weekend, maybe visit a hotel or a hospital or a farm or a factory, see what is happening, ask stupid questions, and tell a story in the next class to your students. And some student, Rajesh ji, no problem, nahi hai. I'm perfectly okay. Okay. ठीक है. All right. Anyone can confirm if I'm still audible, visible? And sorry about this. Connection is okay from my side though. Anyone can give me a feedback? Am I audible, visible? Okay, so sorry about this interruptions. All right, can I go ahead, Chairman ji? Just 2 more minutes. So I was just trying to share that from a teacher's perspective. Say, go to a farm or a factory or hotel or okay, and then ask stupid questions. Tell a story in the next class in the course. Any course you can connect a story. Some student will say, why are they doing like that? Why can't they do like this? Don't discourage the student. Tell them to try something out. And if you keep doing that again and again, it sets up a beautiful golden spiral of you can say research to innovation to practice. And therefore, the reason what we come to is that we need to have not just the theoretical part in our courses. We need to give the latest tools and technologies, which is the technology part of it, and also encourage students to pick up real life problems, translate into products, and also test it into practice. Not enough to just do a project report and leave it on the table. So this whole combination of science, technology, engineering, and practice, we call it a STEP, can give a holistic education to our students. So I will skip the remaining slides, not because I've already wasted a lot of time. But we do have this 4D framework where we ask students to or teachers to spend time in the domain, in real field, to understand a problem firsthand and define a problem, then develop the solution, then test the solution, and finally deploy it through a startup or licensing to industry. The whole 4 into 8, 32 steps have been worked out in great amount of detail. There's a whole quality management system with forms and SOPs which has been set up, and we are now sharing that with a large number of institutions and teachers and so on. Here is a quick example in COVID time. A doctor said that I don't want to be in contact with the patients. Can I do auscultation, that is hearing to the chest sounds, remotely? And so these students who are actually working in some companies, they came up to a hackathon and they created this proof of concept, then a prototype, a product, and finally a Bluetooth-enabled smart stethoscope which has now sold 3,000 units in this last 2-3 years, and actually saved a lot of lives of doctors as well, because they're able to now do their job remotely. That is just one example, but in the last 5 years, we have come up with these so many products. And remember, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm not even a doctor. But we are able to put teams together of doctors and engineers, and all these red colored words are the startup companies. Each startup company has raised average of 1 crore rupees of investment to fuel their journey further. And many companies, small and medium companies, are now coming and saying, can you become our R&D house? Because we can't set up R&D centers and hire people. Can you do our R&D? And we know the market, and we can do the marketing of the product. But in between, you do the job. So these happy pictures where you see doctors and engineers working together. In some pictures, you see the patients also, like the baby in the third row. These are our happy pictures, and they show us what is possible to do if we get the right people together. Of course, we also encourage now the innovators and those products to be covered in the press, because by informing the general public, many more inspiring stories can perhaps come up from society. It's actually happening now, not just from Bombay, but also you'll see Pune and Nagpur and Kolhapur and other places also, which is this. So light has been lit up. But it's very important to set up a pipeline of this innovation, not just one-off success story. So we now have a pipeline of hackathons, which is called MEDHA, and then intensive training camps, which is called MEDIC, and then you give them a 1-year fellowship, and then take it into exhibition, and then of course, technology business incubations and technology parks and so on. So very important to set up a pipeline, very well-oiled system of taking a large number of ideas and eventually creating success stories in the business. Last slide, I just thought I'll share that we hear about triple helix, but I'm very clear that unless we keep the end users, so it's a quad helix: government, academia, industry, and end users. Government, of course, funding and regulation; academia, research and development; industry for manufacturing and marketing. But end users is where you get the problems to solve and also test the solutions if they're right. That is a 4. But we also have 4 other stakeholders without which the ecosystem is not complete. Incubators, the testing centers, the media houses. We need to have friends, journalists, and so on. And of course, investors, without which scale up is not possible. So, but finally, we need champions for doing that. And to put it very short, we need people who are passionate, who combine passion, profession, vocation, and mission into some kind of a holistic way in their life. Those champions can make a difference by creating the ecosystem or the success stories to fuel the country forward. So I'll stop there. I just want to say that all the results finally matter is you have to put in right actions, and right action comes from right vision, and right vision comes from right intentions. So if we do that, if they do get the intentions right, then automatically you don't have to worry about the results. But thank you very much, and again, sorry for the interruptions in between.
Thank you, Professor Ravi. So thank you very much, all the eminent speakers. We had excellent discussion on research and innovation, its application, its usage, and its importance. I am really grateful to the eminent speakers who made excellent presentations in this area, and look forward to meet again in this, and we can have more deliberations. You can contact them, take their contact numbers, and then can be further taken up. So thank you all. Thank you very much. And then we close this session with these words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Despite technical disturbances, you have handled whole session patiently. Thank you so much. Now it's time to show our gratitude to esteemed speakers. I would like to invite Dr. Shreya Mehta Madam to present memento to Professor Sarad Gupta. May I invite Dr. Shashi Ranga to present token of love to Dr. Man Singh Sidhu. Dr. Shashi Ranga. May I request Dr. R.K. Jain, sir, to present memento to Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. J.M. Vyas. Once again, thank you so much for accepting token of love. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. You can proceed. May I request liaising officers of third session to help respective experts.